أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. We start off by praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and sending our peace and blessings upon our Master Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us beneficial knowledge and understanding and wisdom. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless us with a connection. Sisters, you can move those chairs in the back. They're usually not there. People like to sit against the wall. You can move them out. Brother, go help the sister out. Go help them out. Let them move them out into the lobby. Those three chairs. Those three chairs in the back. There's one more. There's one more. Put them outside. There's one more right there. Thank you. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless us with beneficial knowledge and wisdom and understanding, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us hearts that are often returning to Him, hearts of inaba and tawbah, hearts that are often returning to Him after we sin, and hearts that are often returning to Him at all times, because the believer is always turning to Allah. Munibina ilayhi. Allah, He says they're always turning to God, their hearts are always turning to Him. The mu'min lives with Allah in a time of prosperity and a time of difficulty, and that's his secret to get through life, is that he's with Allah. Because in life you go through two phases. You go through a phase of gratitude or a phase of shukr, which means that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is bestowing His bounty upon you and you're not going through a direct difficulty, or you're going through a stage of difficulty where you're exerting patience through Allah. So you're always with God. You're with God in the good times and the down times. So we ask Allah to grant us that, because we want to always be with Allah, because being with Allah is true happiness and bliss. Being with Allah is Jannah in this dunya, because when Allah is pleased with you, it feels as if you are in Jannah in dunya. And the way you achieve that is having a close connection with the Sharia, having a close connection with the Quran, having a close connection with Salah, having a close connection with the Masjid. And this doesn't come overnight. Having khushu' in your Salah doesn't come overnight. It's something that's attained over time. It requires a lot of effort. It requires a lot of effort. You have to leave off sins and continuously do good, and then you'll taste Salah more, and you'll taste Quran more, and you'll taste anything good more. But you can't have a diseased heart and taste something good. So it requires effort. You can't just pray one day and feel like you're going to get khushu'. Then you do things that increase khushu'. This is the ultimate goal of all of this that we do. Discussing the Quran and pondering about it is to taste a good feeling in the heart. And right now we have 2 days left in Ramadan. We have tomorrow, we're going to be fasting tomorrow. It's a Friday. It's the most blessed day of the week. Right now it's Friday night, so it's a blessed night. It's the last Friday of Ramadan. So the timing of Jum'ah is very blessed. The timing of Jum'ah is very blessed. It's the most blessed time of the week. And Ramadan is a very blessed month. So it's blessings upon blessings. So when you go to Jum'ah tomorrow, make sure you're in a good mood, no matter how much you slept. Because it's the last time you're going to go to Jum'ah this Ramadan. And you don't know if you're going to live till next Ramadan. So it's al-barakat tatanazzal yawm al-Jum'ah. So tomorrow is a blessed day. And we're saying goodbye to Ramadan and Jum'ah, because Saturday night there's no Taraweeh. Saturday is the last day of Ramadan. It's the 29th day. The 29th night is tomorrow night. So there's a khatma of Quran in Paris and ICPC. The khatma, it's recommended you go. The Prophet ﷺ used to gather his companions and tell them to bring their wives and their children to attend the khatma of the Quran when they make dua after they finish the Quran. Once you finish doing a khatma, it's good, it's sunnah to make dua. To make dua for anything in this world and the next, because you finished reading the Quran, and the Quran is a blessed book. And we have the khatma here as well in Masjid Younis, I think Clifton as well. So we say goodbye to Ramadan by finishing off the Quran. And then Saturday night there's no Taraweeh, there's Salat al-Isha, 365 days a year. So you're welcome to come to the Masjid for Salat al-Isha. Even though there's no coffee truck, who cares? You could go pray for God without the coffee truck in the Sahel. So no, really, Saturday night there's no Taraweeh, but they have the Eid Bazaar in Patterson. So you could go see your friends. But don't do haram the day before Eid, because you abstain from haram for a long time. And then Sunday, inshallah, we have Salat al-Eid here at Masjid Younis, and at Patterson and Clifton, of course. We have Masjid Younis, Salat al-Eid is at 8 a.m. Clifton and Patterson, first Salah is 8 a.m. Second Salah is 9:30 a.m. And the third Salah is 11 a.m. So Eid Mubarak to you all, inshallah. So It's very sad, like it's very emotional right now because Ramadan is leaving. Inshallah, we'll have our last class tomorrow at 12, inshallah. You're welcome to all join us and bring your friends, inshallah. We reached the part of the story of Musa alayhi salam where he speaks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the burning bush and Allah commands him to go to Fir'aun. And Musa was very nervous to go to Fir'aun. So he started to make dua to Allah for Allah to expand his chest and to ease his path and to ease his way and to remove the knot from his tongue. And the scholars say that if Musa asked Allah to remove the impediment completely, Allah would have. But he only asked to remove the knot so they can understand him. وَحْلَ الْعُقْدَةَ. Al-uqda is one knot. Min lisani yafqahu qawli. So they say that Allah granted him that. So they were able to understand him, but he still had a slight impediment. And then he asked Allah to grant him a helper from his family, Harun. And they say that no one benefited their brother in this world more than Musa benefited Harun. He benefited Harun by asking Allah to grant him Harun as a helper from his family, and Harun became a prophet and messenger of God. And there's no greater gift in the world than being a prophet of God. It means there's wahi. So after Musa makes these 4 beautiful du'ats that we spoke about, Allah, he says, لَقَدْ أُوتِيتَ سُؤْلَكَ يَا مُوسَى وَلَقَدْ مَنَنَّ عَلَيْكَ مَرَّةً أُخْرى. Indeed, you have been given all of that, O Musa. He granted him that immediately. And he said, and we have bestowed our favor upon you now another time. And he says, now we have bestowed our favor upon you. Allah is responding to him. After he said, khalas, we gave you all that. Like this that you're asking for is easy. And he reminds him of what he did for him without him knowing he did it for him. He said, وَلَقَدْ مَنَنَّ عَلَيْكَ مَرَّةً أُخْرى. He goes, no problem. This stuff you're asking for, he goes, make my affairs easy and to open my chest and all this is easy stuff. He goes, I blessed you with favor before. And he goes and he mentions the story of Musa to Musa while he's talking to him on the mountain of Sinai in 3 ayahs. How he protected him when he was a baby and this, that. He goes over his life to show Musa that he was guiding him the whole time and he was watching over him the whole time. So again, after this, so now Allah strengthens the heart of Musa by telling him how he was watching him the whole time without him knowing. And now he goes and he tells him, go to Fir'aun again. So he granted him Harun. And he tells him, اذهبا إلى فرعون. He goes, now both of you go to Fir'aun. So now the part of the story is Musa goes back to Egypt. He's reunited with his brother Harun. And now they call Fir'aun to Islam. And we started off with these 4 ayahs of them calling Fir'aun to Islam. And they say who Allah is. He said, who is your Lord? And he said, your Lord. Musa responds to Fir'aun saying, قال ربنا الذي أعطى كل شيء خلقه ثم هدى. And Fir'aun says, فما بال القرون الأولى. What is it that the first generations are going to have? قال علمها عند ربي في كتاب لا يدل ربي ولا ينسى. He says, their knowledge is in a book, in a record with Allah, and my Lord does not forget and he does not astray. الذي جعل لكم الأرض مهدا وسلك لكم فيها سبلا وأنزل من السماء ماء فأخرجنا به أزواجا من نبات شتى كلوا وارعوا أنعامكم إن في ذلك لآيات لأولي النهى. Allah explains how everything is from Allah and how the rain that comes down is from Allah and how Allah granted everything its spouse and it's all from God. منها خلقناكم وفيها نعيدكم ومنها نخرجكم طارة أخرى وَلَقَدْ أَرَيْنَاهُ آيَاتِنَا كُلَّهَا فَكَذَّبَ وَأَبَى. So Musa and Harun are showing Fir'aun all of the signs of Allah. And the scholars of tafsir say that that means that they showed him the miracles and he disbelieved and he rejected. Or it means that Fir'aun sees all the ayahs of Allah in the universe. Allah sees the beauty of the universe and the beauty of the nature of Egypt and how rain comes from the sky. So the point is that Fir'aun saw all the ayahs of Allah and he disbelieved and he refused and he rejected. He refused to believe. Then Fir'aun responds to Musa. Musa saying, قَالَ أَجِئْتَنَا لِتُخْرِجَنَا مِنْ أَرْضِنَا بِسِحْرِكَ يَا Musa. He arrogantly says to Musa, he said, did you come to kick us out of our land with your magic? And Fir'aun is a bit cuckoo because this is not what Musa wants. Musa doesn't want mulk. Musa doesn't want kingdom. Musa doesn't want power. Musa doesn't want jah. Musa doesn't want status. Musa wants to call Fir'aun to the truth. He's a messenger of God. But Fir'aun doesn't understand this concept because Fir'aun can only think of a dimension. Fir'aun thinks in a dimension. Does anybody have an iPhone charger? You have one? She needs one. So Fir'aun, he says, Fir'aun, he tells Musa, did you come to kick us out of our land? Because Fir'aun can only think in the dimension of dunya. Because he thinks Musa is coming to threaten his kingdom. He thinks Musa is coming to threaten his kingdom. And that's not the case at all. Musa is coming to call him to God. God sent Musa to call him. Musa Aslan was insecure. He didn't want. He just wanted to go back to Egypt. He had a calling in his heart to go to Egypt. But obviously the calling was from Allah because Allah spoke to him. So Musa doesn't want anything to do with status. He doesn't want anything to do with power. But he's projecting, because that's what evil people do. They're delusional. They project. Because that's what Pharaoh would want to do. So he said, did you come here to kick us out of our land with your magic? فَلَنَأْتِيَنَّكَ بِسِحْرٍ مِثْلِهِ فَاجْعَلْ بَيْنَنَا وَبَيْنَكَ مَوْعِدًا لَا نُخْلِفُهُ نَحْنُ وَلَا أَنْتَ مَكَانًا سِوَى. So Pharaoh responds arrogantly to Musa, and he says, so we will combat your magic. Of course, Musa is not coming with magic. Musa is coming with guidance from Allah and miracles from God. Musa has nothing to do with magic. He says, so we will respond to your sihr, we will respond to your magic with magic just like it. فَاجْعَلْ بَيْنَنَا وَبَيْنَكَ مَوْعِدًا. So grant for us an appointment. لَا نُخْلِفُهُ نَحْنُ وَلَا أَنْتَ مَكَانًا سِوَى. Pharaoh says, so grant for us an appointed time and place that we can meet, a timing that you will not go against and you'll come with and you'll stick to, and a timing that we will not go against with and we'll stick to. And he says, makanan siwa. He says an area, siwa. Siwa means half. So this means that Pharaoh was telling Musa, come and pick a location and a timing that you won't go against and I won't go against. Let it be halfway between where you are and where I am. Or it means siwa, a higher elevated area where everyone could see it, where it could be visible for everyone, like a cliff, or a clear area where everyone can see. قال موعدكم يوم الزينة وأن يحشر الناس ضحى. Musa alayhi salam responds with a lot of strength. And I want to make a point here, and that's that the prophets and messengers, they all came with truth. They're all coming with truth. Truthfulness is sidq. Sidq is being truthful with your tongue. Sidq is the outcome of a truthful heart, because sidq starts off in the heart. Sidq is sincere belief. Yeah? Man qala la ilaha illallah sidqan min qalbihi dakhal al-jannah. The Prophet, he says, whomsoever says the shahada sincerely from his heart, he enters paradise. So sidq has three levels. It's sidq of the qalb, and then it's sidq of the lisan, and then it's sidq of the jawarih. So a person who does good in society with his limbs, and who prays with his limbs, and his body does good things, he has sidq in his limbs. His bodily movements in his limbs do acts of truthfulness and righteousness. And that's an outcome from a truthful tongue, which is the outcome and the magnification of a truthful heart. So it all starts off in the heart. So the prophets and messengers, they all come with sidq. They all come with truth. And when you are truthful, you're strong and confident. And when you're far away from sin, you're strong and confident. When you sin, you're not confident and you're insecure. And when you lie, you're insecure. You could catch someone lying all the time because they can't make eye contact, or they do fidgety movements. But when you speak the truth, you don't budge. If you're innocent, you don't budge. If you're called into an interrogation room, for a murder that you did not commit, you will be fuming mad that you're being taken out of your work to get called in for an interrogation room. So the interrogator is going to begin by asking you how you know Sarah, the co-worker that was murdered a week ago, that they're trying to find out who the murderer is. So they'll ask you, if you're innocent, how do you know Sarah? You'll say, from work. Can I go back now? You'll be fuming. You're confident. Sidq is confidence. However, the perpetrator, when they ask him, how do you know Sarah? He's going to go, you know what? Me and her went way back. I got to know her in high school. After high school, we started working together at the Bonefish Grill. After the Bonefish Grill, 2 months in, the manager yelled at me and I told Sarah and she helped me, because you're building rapport, because you're a liar, you're kadhab. The innocent person doesn't have to build rapport. The person of shirk talks with ease. You get stopped by the TSA, where'd you go? Egypt. 1 second answer if you're innocent. 1 second answer if you're innocent. So I'm trying to make a point, and that's that truthfulness comes out with confidence. And because he responded to Pharaoh's ask immediately, with a time and place, immediately, without hesitation, because he's coming with truth, because he's coming with sidq, and he's a confident person. He didn't say, no, Pharaoh, it's okay. You know what? Just give me the foreign ministry. I'll take that. Forget me coming to have a battle with you. I don't want any problems. Just give me like $400,000 and we'll call it a day. No, because he's not coming for dunya. Pharaoh thinks he wants something. Pharaoh thinks he wants to be the leader. Pharaoh thinks he wants money and he wants a palace. Musa doesn't want any of that. So he responds immediately after Pharaoh asking him for a place. قال موعدكم يوم الزينة. He goes, our appointment is يوم الزينة. And we said in the last class, يوم الزينة is يوم العيد. And it's called يوم الزينة because it's a day of decoration where people are dressed decoratively. Yani they're dressed up nice, they're dressed apart. And he asked for يوم الزينة or يوم العيد so there could be many people there to witness this because he's going to come with miracles from Allah. And he wants those who are non-Muslims, those who are not from Bani Israel, the Egyptians that are all there from the ministers and the sorcerers and the people of society to all believe. The whole goal is belief in God. He wants the festival where everyone is going to be gathered and everyone's going to be dressed up nice in. So he picks the best day possible. And he said, وَأَن يُحْشَرَ النَّاسُ ضُحَى. And he picks the best time possible, which is duha. At a timing where no one's going to be napping because they take their midday naps at dhuhr, and a timing not where it's at night where you can't see. Duha, when the light is out and you could see everything. When you leave the masjid after fajr, after shuruq, when it's 8 a.m. in the morning, the light is strong, you see everything. There's no difficulty in seeing anything. So he picks the time of duha where everyone will be gathered on the day of the festival. فَتَوَلَّى فِرْعَوْنَ فَجَمَعَ كَيْدَهُ ثُمَّ أَتَى. So now Fir'aun and Musa have agreed on an appointment, a time and a place. So, and then Fir'aun goes, فَجَمَعَ كَيْدَهُ ثُمَّ أَتَى. I want us to picture, if we could imagine a bit. So I could imagine Fir'aun, Musa alayhi salam coming with Harun into the massive empire of ancient Egypt. They're walking through. They get into the palace of Fir'aun. They're stripped down. They're asked about what they have. There's nothing. They let them in. Fir'aun knows Musa very well. أَلَمْ نُرَبِّكَ فِينَا وَلِيدًا. Fir'aun, he tells Musa in Surah Al-Shu'ara, did we not raise you when you were a little newborn? Walida, when you were just born, did we not take you in and raise you? So Musa alayhi salam has been God for 10 years. The last time Musa alayhi salam has been heard of is when he accidentally killed someone and Fir'aun called for him to come so they can execute him. So Musa comes back and he starts telling Fir'aun after he comes back that he's a prophet from God, La ilaha illallah. Fir'aun is thinking, what is wrong with this guy? He wants to come to steal my kingdom. First he wanted to make mischief by killing one of my people. Now he wants to come steal my kingdom. So Musa alayhi salam says, I want nothing to do with your kingdom. I want to call the people to La ilaha illallah. So he said, if you're going to come with magic, we're going to combat your magic. Give us a time and place. He goes, no problem. Bring everyone the day of the festival to a high elevated place so we can meet. Then Fir'aun goes. فَتَوَلَّى فِرْعَوْنُ فَجَمْعَ كَيْدَهُ ثُمَّ أَتَى. So then Fir'aun takes off and Fir'aun leaves to get ready and get prepared for this. Then he returns. ثُمَّ أَتَى. Then he came back. فَجَمَعَ كَيْدَهُ means he went to prepare the magicians he was going to ask to come and combat the magic of Musa. Right? So Fir'aun then left and he got prepared. They say that. Ancient Egyptian empire, the time right now, what we're talking about, I said this here many times. It was their specialty was magic. So right now the specialty of an Islamic empire or Islamic people, their specialty is Quran, hifz al-Quran. If you go to the Sahara Desert, there's people memorizing the Quran all the time. In Indonesia, people memorize the Quran all the time. The Muslim specialty is Quran. There's schools of Quran. There's Islamic schools of Quran. At the time of ancient Egypt, their religion was magic. Of course, their religion was shirk, but it was magic-based shirk. So they used to raise each other in magic schools. Magic was the main thing there. And there was levels of magicians. There was like a sorcerer, and then a magician, and then an arrafa. They have different names. So there's a main magician, and all of this is jinn work, and it's all black magic. It's jinn work. And the magician never, ever gets anything good in this world. Anyway, so they say that Fir'aun went to go prepare himself to combat Musa. So of course he's going to go to the head magician. Now we have the head rabbi and then the other rabbis. We have the head sheikh, the strongest sheikh, and the head magician. And then he goes and brings all his students. And he goes to all the other head magicians. They go and he prepares. They say 80,000 magicians. They say 80,000 magicians. They say 72,000 magicians. They say 72 magicians. They say 14,000 magicians. And they say 440 magicians. There's like 15 different opinions. What is the takeaway? What's the takeaway, brother? Yeah. He went to prepare all the magicians to come combat one guy. He went and called all the magicians in Egypt. He said, go bring all your best students. He said, go bring your strongest huffaz of the Quran. Yeah, but it's magic, not Quran. So they go and they bring a lot of magicians. And they want to make a statement because they want to crush Musa. They don't want him to succeed. They want to make a strong, bold statement now, crushing Musa alayhi salam. They want to prevail against him because they think he's coming with magic. So Fir'aun took off and he got his magicians prepared and ready, and then he came back. قال لهم موسى ويلكم لا تفتروا على الله كذبا فيسحتكم بعذاب وقد خاب من افترى. Now all these magicians came, and it's the day of Eid. Allah skips. He doesn't say, and then the day of Eid came, and then they went into this. No, just right into the story. Right into the story. What's the appointment? Fir'aun went, got ready, and came back. Now Musa's calling them out. And we say this, all the prophets and messengers, before they go through any battle or war or fight or anything, or magician battle, anything they do, they call out and they say, believe in God. I'm giving you a chance. Believe in God. Aslim taslim. Believe in God. He could give them an opportunity. So he goes to them, قال لهم موسى ويلكم لا تفتروا على الله كذبا. He goes, how dare you guys, man, come on. He goes, don't lie upon Allah. لا تفتروا على الله كذبا. Don't lie upon Allah, yani don't disbelieve in God. Don't come with magic. Magic is no good. He goes, فيسحتكم بعذاب. So then Allah will diminish you, or take you all out with a painful torment, with a punishment. He will destroy you. He will cause you destruction. فَيَسْحِتُكُمْ بِعَذَابٍ. Right? وَقَدْ خَابَ مَنْ افْتَرَى. And he who lies is always a loser. And he who lies always loses. وَقَدْ خَابَ. خَابَ is to lose. مَنْ افْتَرَى. He who lies. And he who lies upon Allah is going to lose. He who disbelieves in God is going to lose. Lying and disbelief are the same thing. فَتَنَازَعُوا أمرهم بينهم وأسروا النجوى. فتنازعوا أمرهم بينهم وأسروا النجوى. The magicians now were confronted by Musa. Musa was strong with them. He said, don't lie upon God. He was strong, confident. So now the magicians, فتنازعوا, they got together in an argumentative manner. وأسروا النجوى. And they took, أسروا means they took a secret najwa. They went into a discuss. They said, okay, hold up, we're going to have a huddle. You know, you make a huddle in football. Why do you do the huddle? So the other team doesn't see or hear what your plan is, correct? They went and they made a huddle. I want to get the exact definition. فَتَنَازَعُوا أَمْرُهُمْ بَيْنُهُمْ وَأَسَرُّوا النَّجْوَى. So the magicians disputed the matter amongst themselves, conversing privately. And the scholars, they say that here, when the magicians went together to speak about, your chair is there, Khalil. Your chair is there. So they say that the magicians, they say that the magicians, they went together, they conspired with each other, and they say that they were arguing about what? Who wants to take a guess what they were arguing about from the brothers? Well, I like that, but no. Yeah, very good. No, wallahi, amazing. Yeah, if he's lying or not. Because he came with extreme confidence. Musa alayhi salam, he came with confidence. He goes, don't lie upon Allah. What are you guys doing? I'm only here to call la ilaha illallah. So they got kind of worried. So they gathered, they said, come, huddle, time out, huddle. And they go and they start to conspire. Because they're like, yo, this guy is not normal. I don't think he's coming with magic. They say that they were they were differing on if he was truth or not, if he's lying or not. And many of them said, no, he seems like he's saying the truth. He's very confident. It seems like he's a prophet of God. It doesn't seem like he's a magician. I don't think he's a magician. And they were getting worried. So they got together to dispute or talk about how they're going to combat his magic and if they should combat his magic. But of course, Fir'aun promised them all a closeness to him and a high wage. So of course, if you're doing something for the haqq, you don't care about money. If you're doing something for the haqq, you do it for the sake of it being the haqq. But if you're doing something for batil, you're doing it for an alternative motive. If you're doing something for falsehood, of course you're going to do it for an alternative motive. You're going to do it for money or status or something that you get. So they go and they speak together about how they're going to deal with him. قالوا إن هذان لساحران يريدان أن يخرجاكم من أرضكم بسحرهما ويذهبا بطريقتكم المثلى. They get together and they say, these are two magicians that want to kick you out of your land. They come up with the same conclusion that Fir'aun said. Because Fir'aun told Musa, do you want to come kick me out of my land? How dare you? They come after they conspire and they get together, they say, إن هذان لساحران يريدان أن يخرجاكم من أرضكم بسحرهما ويذهبا بطريقتكم المثلى. They say, they concluded, they said that these are only two magicians who want to drive you out of your land with their magic and do away with your most cherished traditions. Your most cherished traditions are their magic, their ways, and their traditions of their society. So they're worried that Musa alayhi salam is going to come and disrupt the way that they are. They're worried that Musa alayhi salam is going to come and disrupt their way of life. He's going to disrupt their womanizing and disrupt their haram and their Atlantic City casino, and he's going to disrupt all the garbage that they have. And that's very scary for someone that his entire life is based upon that, and his livelihood is based upon that, and his food is based upon that, because their number one way of profit, their number one way of maksab, their income, the magician's income is based upon his magic. So Musa's going to come and destroy magic and say magic is fake and I'm from Allah. It's going to destroy their income. It's going to destroy everything. So after they conspired and they got together and they were arguing, maybe he's on the truth, maybe he's not, they said, no, that's it. We're going to, look, he's just coming to kick us out. He's just coming to make the most money. Again, they're just like Pharaoh. They lost the plot. So they said, indeed, you two, who are you two? Musa and Harun. They said, indeed, you two are just two magicians that have come to kick us out of our land and to do away with what we know. وَيَذْهَبَ بِطَرِيقَتِكُمُ الْمُثْلَى, and to do away with our magic that we knew from before. فَأَجْمِعُوا كَيْدَكُمْ ثُمَّ تُصَفَّى وَقَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْيَوْمَ مَنْ اسْتَعْلَى. So then Allah, He says, so orchestrate your plan, then come forward in perfect ranks, and whoever prevails today will certainly be successful. This is on the tongue of the magicians. The magicians said, after they got together, إِنْ هَذَانِ لَسَاحِرَانِ يُرِيدَانِ أَن يُخْرِجَاكُم مِّنْ أَرْضِكُمْ بِسِحْرِهِمَا وَيَذْهَبَا بِطَرِيقَتِكُمُ الْمُثْلَى. And then they continue saying together, فَأَجْمِعُوا كَيْدَكُمْ ثُمَّ تُصَفَّى. The magicians, they say, now, how are we going to go out and present? They're discussing how they're going to present on the day of the festival, how they're going to present their magic. They say, orchestrate your plan, and then come forward in perfect ranks. Come forward in ranks. Because we mentioned that the magicians were either 80,000, or 72,000, or 440, or 72. There was a lot of magicians. So now they're preparing how they're going to come out. Like you see the Super Bowl, you watch the Super Bowl, and then they have the Super Bowl halftime. And the Super Bowl halftime, they go and they put out a stage, and every year everyone talks about what happens in the halftime of the Super Bowl because it's orchestrated well, or they plan it well. And every year there's still a mushkila or a problem. Nothing is perfect. Anyway, but this prep that you take when you go on stage, the same thing is with magicians, because they're preparing for that. So they say, come out in ranks. So they're just preparing how they're going to come out. And this means a lot, because they're magicians. And they play with the way people see things. Their whole magic is based upon deception. You guys get this? So this is important for who stands where and how they stand. So they got together, they devised a plan. The best magicians of Egypt. They say from 400 up to 80,000, right? So orchestrate your plans and then come forward in perfect ranks. And whoever prevails today will certainly be successful. They say to each other, the magicians, whoever prevails today is going to be successful. Yani, they're talking to each other. Which one of the magicians from them is going to get the best money? Because Pharaoh promised them money and closeness. He said, Na'am, wa innakum la min al-muqarrabin. They asked him, Inna lana la ajra? Qala na'am, wa innakum la min al-muqarrabin. The magicians, when Pharaoh went to call the magicians, when Pharaoh went to go call the magicians to come and do his task right now, saying this guy comes with magic, you got to combat his magic. So they're asking him, of course, anyone's going to ask, how much are you going to pay? How much is it? They said, Inna lana la ajra. You're going to give us something? And Pharaoh responded, not saying, I'm going to give you something. He said, yes, absolutely. And I'm going to give you something else. وَإِنَّكُمْ لَمِنَ الْمُقَرَّبِينَ. Whomsoever does good with the magic, you are close to me. And you receive a high status. You become the defense minister. You know how you become a defense minister? Is after you groom the guy in charge. After you groom him, then you become the defense minister. You do everything he tells you. How else does the other defense minister get fired from that country, right? You get closer to the ruler by doing things that make him happy. So anyway, so they all wanted that because they're magicians. They all want money and they all want status. So they said, indeed, he who succeeds today is going to be the most successful. قالوا يا موسى. Now they call out to Musa alayhi salam. إما أن تلقي وإما أن نكون أول من ألقاه. They go to Musa alayhi salam. Now it's the festival. They're all out. The whole world is watching. It's the duha timing. Everyone is dressed fresh. I want to picture it, honestly, because now it's like a big stage. This is the biggest stage of their lives. This is the magician. If he had a chance to mess up, he can't mess up today. This is the biggest stage of his life. He's been practicing magic his whole life. He's been practicing magic his whole life. He's been teaching magic his whole life. His whole life is magic. Today, this is the day he worked hard for. And if it's a day of a festival, there's kids playing, and there's women, and there's men, and then there's the low class of society, the high class of society, there's Pharaoh, and they said he was on a big, massive like what's it called, a recliner. And of course they're putting the fans on him like that, the slaves, and he's chilling and he's excited, he's arrogant, he's probably decked out in gold, right? Probably some crazy haircut like a mohawk or something, because he's evil and he's a tyrant. And then his ministers are all around him and they're all dressed in capes and it looks freaky like some alien stuff. They're all like, you know, like no wallah, like they dress weird. It's like, go to ancient Egyptian history, it's mad weird how they dress. It's all jinn and sihr and magic. So everything has a meaning behind it. Anyway, so they go to Musa, either you throw or we throw. قالوا يا موسى إما أن تلقي وإما أن نكون أول من ألقى. You start off or we start off. Again, we said Musa's confident. Musa, he answers them immediately. He doesn't hesitate. قال بل ألقوا فإذا حبالهم وعصيهم يخيل إليه من سحرهم أنها تسعى. He says, no, you guys start. He goes, go ahead, start. So as they throw their hibal and their asi, they came with ropes, and they came with sticks. Musa alayhi salam came with one stick, and he's aided by Almighty God, and his stick is amazing, and his stick is a miracle from God. It's a burhan, it's an ayah, it's a mu'jiza. The magicians don't have snakes. They have ropes that they're going to make it seem like they're snakes. And they have sticks, so they're carrying a lot more. But of course, their big ropes are probably hiding under. You ever seen a magic trick or a magic show? You ever seen a magic show? Anyway, so قال بل ألقوا. He says, Musa responds, no, you go first. And suddenly, their ropes and their staffs appeared to him by their magic that they were like snakes moving around, slithering, like they were slithering like snakes. فأوجس في نفسه خيفة موسى. So Moses concealed fear within himself. فأوجس في نفسه خيفة موسى. Musa alayhi salam, he got frightened because they put on a good show. Of course, they put on a good show after training for 70 years for this. It's a really good show. They put on a good show. Musa alayhi salam, he got a bit frightened. The same way he got frightened when he was on the mountain of Sinai. And Allah told him to grab the snake. And he said, we're going to return it to how it was. And I like this, that Allah tells us he got scared. I love this. Because this is a detail that we all need to hear. Because we all get scared. We're human beings. And Musa was a human. So we could relate to Musa alayhi salam. I would have been scared too. It's really scary. He's in front of everyone. He doesn't want to mess up. Think about all the different things. He's probably stressed out. Like, he doesn't want to mess up. He doesn't want to mess up. God sent him to go. He doesn't want to mess up. He was very worried. But he says he hid it. فَأَوْجَسَ فِي نَفْسِهِ خِيفَةً مُوسَى. So, قُلْنَا لَا تَخَفْ إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ الْأَعْلَى. Allah reveals to Musa, he says, don't be worried. You are going to be victorious. But he doesn't say victorious, he says, أَنْتَ الْأَعْلَى. You are the highest. You're going to win. So, Allah says to him, we reassured him, do not fear. It is certainly you who will prevail. وألقي ما في يمينك تلقف ما صنعوا إنما صنعوا كيد ساحر ولا يفلح الساحر حيث أتى. So Allah, he tells Musa alayhi salam, and throw that which is in your right hand. تلقف ما صنعوا. Throw that which is in your right hand. Cast that which is in your right hand, and it will swallow up what they have made. For what they have made is no more than a magic trick. And magicians can never succeed wherever they go. وَأَلْقِ مَا فِي يَمِينِكَ تَلْقَفْ مَا صَنَعُوا. Throw what's in your right hand. Your snake is going to be a real snake. It's going to be a slithering snake. It's going to be a massive snake, and it's going to eat all of their magic up. And it's going to eat all their ropes. إِنَّمَا صَنَعُوا كَيْدُ سَاحِرٍ. What they have put together and what they orchestrated was just magic. Allah says, إِنَّمَا صَنَعُوا كَيْدُ سَاحِرٍ. Whatever they did was just magic. It was mere magic. وَلَا يُفْلِحُ السَّاحِرُ حَيْثُ أَتَى. And the magician is never successful no matter where he is. And the magician will never be successful. The magician never finds success in the dunya and in the akhirah. They say that this is a qa'idah, this is a ruling. Allah ends this ayah off with this beautiful ruling about magic and black magic and magicians. The magician is dalil. The magician is humiliated always. The magician, he does his magic in order to receive either money or status. Up until today, there's people that do black magic and they deal with jinns. And they are the darkest of people and the dirtiest of people. You ever heard of a hoarder? People that hoard garbage? You know, it's a tangent, but it's important. In Florida, there was a lot of black magic. I didn't know that. Like over here in New Jersey, I don't see magic shops. In Florida, there's magic shops everywhere, off of every highway. It's like palm readers and magic. I see it here sometimes, but there it's big. I guess because in the South, people do black magic a lot more. In Louisiana and Alabama, there's magic. So I was speaking to someone who converted with me, and they were telling me about how they were into. By the way, this was very common. Like 6-7 people that converted in my masjid in Florida, they all became Muslim because they got too deep into black magic. And it's kind of freaky, because some of them give me a lot of details of stuff that they did, and it's interesting stuff. It's nasty stuff. And how their friends in high school got into magic, and they used to go visit them, and they would continuously have more and more garbage like in their house. But that's because the shaitan commands them with that. He wants impurity. The shayateen and the jinn, they can't be around purity. That's why you can never ever get a jinni enter you, can never enter you if you're on wudu ever. It's impossible. Wudu is a shield. That's the akmal al-tahara. Wudu is the highest level of purity. Wudu is the highest level of purity. A jinn cannot enter you on wudu. It can't come anywhere near you. The mu'min should not be scared of this stuff anyway, because if you pray salah, and if you make wudu, and if you fast Ramadan, and if you read Quran, or if you have any dosage of Islam in your life, the jinn can't come anywhere near you. The jinn is aslan scared of you. But the jinni loves impurities, it loves dirty, it loves filth, so they hoard a lot of garbage, and to be around filth always. And they love blood, and they love all these types of things. But Allah, He says that the magician is never successful no matter where he is. The magician never finds success. And doing magic, and black magic is a kabira from the kaba'ir. It's a major sin. Black magic is a major sin. It's not something light. It's a corporal sin, or it's a cardinal sin. And I wanted to say that this ayah is a very powerful ayah. These 5, 6, 7 ayahs about Musa alayhi salam and the magicians are powerful ayahs. They're called ayat al-ruqya. They're called ayat al-ruqya. Ruqya is spiritual healing from the Quran. And the Quran heals spiritual ailments, and the Quran heals physical ailments, and the Quran heals people who have lamps from a jinn, which is a touch from a jinn, or people who are possessed by jinn. And we believe in this in Islam. This is all, this is real. So sometimes your relationship takes a left turn. Sometimes it's magic has been done. You don't know. You could go read Quran. Quran is all shifa. So these ayahs are very powerful ayahs, because Allah talks about the weakness of magic, and how magic is nothing in front of Allah in the Quran. It's nothing. It's nothing in front of truth. Magic, it dissolves. It dissolves in front of Quran. The jinn is terrified of Quran. It's scared. So the ayat of the ruqya, of course all the Quran is ruqya. You could read in the Quran, but certain ayahs have more power because they're speaking about magic. So there's certain ayahs in Surah Al-Baqarah that speak about magic and how it came down in Babel, and there's certain ayahs that are like Ayat al-Kursi, or certain ayahs that speak about magic. They're very powerful ayahs. These are always read. If you've ever seen someone do a ruqya, they read these ayahs. وَلَا يُفْلِحُ السَّاحِرُ حَيْثُ أَتَى. The magician is never successful. You read that like 6 times to someone who's possessed, he's going to start hitting you. The jinn is going to wake up because it bothers him, because you're talking about his people. فَأُلْقِيَ السَّحَرَةُ سُجَّدًا قَالُوا آمَنَّا بِرَبِّ هَارُونَ وَمُوسَى. So the magicians immediately prostrated into sujood, and they said, we believe in the Lord of Harun and Musa. They believed immediately. They saw something crazy that they never seen before. They could only understand that this is truth from God. This is not magic. Musa alayhi salam, he threw his staff and it ate all their sticks. It was a snake. They saw something crazy. They saw something insane. They all believed immediately. They all believed immediately. They all fell into prostration immediately on the spot. And Pharaoh is right there. And Pharaoh is right there staring at them. He's probably thinking, what are they doing? How dare they? What's going on? Imagine Pharaoh's mindset. The whole world is watching. The whole ancient Egypt was there. They're high. They're at an elevated place, so the whole city could see them. So فَأُلْقِيَ السَّحَرَةُ سُجْدًا. Allah, He uses the same verb that He uses for when Musa threw his staff. He cast his staff. أَلْقِي عَصَاكَ. Cast it. He said, فَأُلْقِيَ السَّحَرَةُ سُجْدًا. They casted themselves down onto the floor. They prostrated immediately. They made sujood. So the magicians fell down into prostration immediately, declaring, we believe in the Lord of Aaron and Moses. They said that, قَالُوا آمَنَّا بِرَبِّ هَارُونَ وَمُوسَى. So why do they start with Harun and not Musa? Why do they say that we believe in the Lord of Harun and Musa, not Musa and Harun? These are 2 good opinions, yeah. No, it could be, but they say because it rhymes more. In the Quran, the scholars of Tafsir said it goes well with the rhythmic pattern. It rhymes more. But also maybe because he was older, maybe because he was more eloquent, and he was the one that was doing most of the speaking, by the way. These statements that we get that are on the tongue of Musa, certainly Musa said them, but we're not getting the detailed long discussions or rebuttals. You get it? Because Allah's only giving us what Musa is saying. But they say that Musa was sent, and he would initiate the conversation, and he would start off by saying something, and Harun would expand, because he was afsahu. هو أفصح مني لسانا فارسله معي ردءا. He says in the other surah, he is أفصح مني لسانا. He is more eloquent than me in his speech. He was able to speak and expand on things. And he would go back and forth. But Musa would give the ultimate ultimatums. And he would start things off. So they go straight into prostration and they say, we believe in the Lord of Harun and Musa, because they can't deny it. What they saw was something undeniable. They saw it with their own two eyes. And they know magic. And they studied magic their whole lives. And they know this ain't no magic. This can't be any magic. This is not magic. This is God. This is God. This is not magic. So they believed immediately. قال آمنتم له قبل أن آذن لكم إنه لكبيركم الذي علمكم السحر فلا أقطعن أيديكم وأرجلكم من خلاف ولا أصلبنكم في جذوع النخل ولا تعلمن أينا أشد عذابا وأبقى. He goes, you believe in him before I grant you the permission to believe in him? What are you doing? Because he thinks he's their Lord. How could you do something without him granting you permission? You're going to go believe before I let you believe in him? He said, do you believe in him before I grant you the permission to do so? He was furious. He goes, إِنَّهُ لَكَبِيرُكُمْ الَّذِي عَلَّمَكُمُ السِّحْرَ. He goes, indeed, I get it. I get the whole thing. He is the main magician. He has no working brain cells. He's still holding on to his narrative because he's so narcissistic and he's lost the plot. He says, no, indeed, he taught you all magic and it was him teaching you magic behind the scenes. So maybe he convinced himself that this is reality, but it's nowhere near reality. He goes, indeed, he is the larger one of all of you, the one who has taught you all magic. فَلَأُقَطِّعَنَّ أَيْدِيَكُمْ. So he's furious. He says, I'm going to chop off your hands. Let me read the translation. He said, how dare you believe in him before I give you permission to? He must be your master who taught you all magic. I will certainly cut off your hands and feet on opposite sides and crucify you on the trunks of palm trees. You will really see whose punishment is more severe and more lasting. So Pharaoh was furious and he wanted to chop off their hands and their feet and then place them onto the palm tree, the trunk of the palm tree, and crucify them. And this is a very bad punishment. This is a very harmful punishment. And it's very elaborative. And that's the whole point. He wants to show them that punishment and reward is in his hands. He's trying to make a point. He's trying to say, look, if I rewarded you and I made you closer to me and I give you a lot of money, that's reward for me. Because in his understanding, that's giving reward, and this is giving punishment and killing. So he said, how dare you believe in him? I'm going to cut off your hands and your feet, and I'm going to usallibannakum. I'm going to crucify you in the trunk of the palm tree. And then you will know, وَلَا تَعْلَمُنَّ. And then you will understand well, مَنْ هُوَ أَشَدُّ عَذَابًا وَأَبْقَى. Who is more, who could punish more, and whose punishment is everlasting. They say that Pharaoh was the first person to use this type of punishment. They say that this crucifixion on the trunk or on anything and the cutting off the hands, Pharaoh was the first one to do so. قالوا لن نؤثرك على ما جاءنا من البينات والذي فطرنا فقد ما أنت قاد إنما تقضي هذه الحياة الدنيا. They respond to Pharaoh and they say, indeed we have believed. They responded by the one who created us. They immediately became full-time believers. Look at their iman. Immediate iman. They responded by the one who created us. Now they're swearing by Allah, which means they're not believing in him. He wants them to believe in him. They say no, but قالوا لن نؤثرك على ما جاءنا. They said no, we will not. By the one who created us, we will never prefer you over the clear proofs that have come to us. So do whatever you want. Your authority only covers this fleeting world. They say do whatever you want to do. They say that إنما تقضي هذه الحياة الدنيا. All you could do and all your authority encompasses is this dunya. Your authority doesn't go past this dunya. You have nothing to do with the hereafter. So they tell him off. They don't say no, it's okay, we're sorry, this, that, and how dare we. No, they immediately respond and they say do whatever you have to do. So right now, they just became Muslim 1 second ago and their iman is stronger than the entire Muslim ummah today put together times 5. They say no problem, do whatever you got to do. And this is because they had full conviction but in their belief and they saw what happened with Musa alayhi salam. And perhaps they felt bad for all the magic they did. Perhaps when they were doing magic, they knew it was wrong. And I say perhaps because anybody knows that this is wrong. Like when you do evil things, in order to get magic to work, you got to do nasty things. Not to get into details, you have to do nasty things. The magician has to succumb to the jinn, and the jinn is very childish. And the jinn asks for certain things to be done for him to give you back something. So perhaps they felt immense guilt that was growing in their stomachs all the time, and they sleep and they wake up with guilt. You see someone who's engrossed in sin. You see someone who lives a life of sin and he puts on a good front. She puts on a good front, whether it's makeup or whether it's whatever medicine they use or whatever, anything they do to put on a good front, and they go out and they take everyday as a new day, and they're smiling on social media, their likes go up and their subscriptions go up and this, that. It's all a facade. If you're far from Allah and you outstretch the boundaries of God, you're in misery, you're in Jahannam right now. وَإِنَّ الْفُجَّارَ لَفِي جَحِيمٍ. Allah, He says, and indeed the fujjar, the people who are rebellious and not religious, لَفِي جَحِيمٍ. He says they're in Jahannam right now. لَفِي جَحِيمٍ, not they're going to enter Jahannam. لَفِي, they're in Jahannam now. وَإِنَّ الْإِبْرَارَ لَفِي نَعِيمٍ. And on the flip side, the abrar, the people of righteousness and good deeds, they're in Jannah now. We were talking about this last night here, and that's the person who's close to Allah. If Allah is pleased with you, if God is pleased with you, that's the greatest gift you'll ever be gifted. Because in Jannah you get everything, and the pleasure of Allah is better than everything you get. وَرِضْوَانٌ مِّنَ اللَّهِ أَكْبَرُ. The Ridwan and the pleasure of Allah is greater than anything you could receive. The crazy thing about the pleasure of Allah, you'll get that in Jannah inshallah, for sure. But the crazy thing about it is that you could get it in dunya before you die. You could be someone that Allah is pleased with in dunya before you pass away. You could receive the pleasure of God while you're alive walking on the earth, and that means that like you're in Jannah right now. The pious person that lives with Allah, he's in Jannah, he's happy all the time, he's good energy. It's not fake. The person who's far from Allah and he commits major sins, especially major sins, he lives every day with guilt, and it continuously accumulates. You know, accumulation is a lot, until like you get depression, then severe anxiety, then severe depression, then medications, then therapy, and all these things. And we're not denying any of these things, they're real, but sins are the number one cause of these things. The scholars, they write books about the effects of sins. Sins have a immense effect on your mental state, your physical state, your spiritual state. But the greatest calamity of a sin, more than the mental thing and more than your risk getting cut off and your sustenance being cut off, more than all of that, the greatest catastrophe from sinning is there's a void that you create between you and Allah. Like when you sin, you create a void between you and God. You feel that void in the heart. You feel far from Allah in your heart. And I say void between you and Allah means void between you and Salah on time, void between you and Fajr in the Masjid, void between you and the Quran. Like we were talking about this in the beginning of the class. Some people, they say, oh, I read Quran and I don't feel nothing, or I don't feel like it, I get lazy. We all get lazy. We go, what? We all read through it. Like, you have to fight. You can't read Quran like this. This is not reading Quran. This has to be far away. Yeah, read Quran with the phone in a 300-foot radius. You're not going to read Quran. You can't disconnect. You can't read Quran if you're not disconnected from the phone. It's impossible. No matter what you read, you're not reading. You could read all you want. You're not reading. It's not counting. It doesn't count until you put this away. Put on airplane mode, off, drawer, under the socks, close the drawer, lock the room, go down, past the kitchen, go to the living room, take the Quran out, then sit down and read Quran. The first 2 minutes you're going to be shaking. You're going to be shaking like you're addicted to something. You're going to be shaking. Your phone is not in your pocket. And then you just give up. It's upstairs in the sock drawer. It's a lot. Read something. You read for like 2 minutes and you start to feel good. You can't feel good if you sin. That void that you create is from your own doing. وَمَا ظَلَمْنَاهُمْ وَلَكِنْ كَانُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ يَظْلِمُونَ. We did not oppress them. They oppressed their own selves. You oppress yourself when you transgress. You create a void between you and Allah. But sinning has effects in dunya as well, such as blackness in the face, and it removes rizq and all these bad things. But who cares about money? Who cares about all that? The greatest catastrophe of a sin is that you get a void between you and Allah. You have someone who says, I can't pray Fajr, or I can't do this, that, because the sin is chaining you down as a chain. You know, chain, it chains you down. You know, you get locked up, you get in a chain, you get locked up in jail, you can't move, you chain. The sin chains you down. How could someone wake up for Fajr if he looks at haram at night? How? Like, it doesn't make sense. May Allah protect us. But Sufyan al-Thawri, he said, we fell into a sin and we were not able to stand in front of Allah in Qiyam al-Layl for 30 years. Sufyan al-Thawri, he says, Allah punished us. He's a tabi'i. He says, Allah punished us because we fell into a sin. Adnabtu dhanban. He goes, I fell into a sin. And I was no longer able to stand up in Qiyam, like wake up in the middle of the night to pray to Allah so I can have a close, intimate relationship with my Lord. Look how the way that they think. The way of thinking is beautiful because you can see correlations in your life. And the mu'min is someone who observes. The mu'min is someone who observes. You have to be able to observe that when you look at filth, your day is ruined. Or when you do filth, your day is ruined. Or when you listen to filth, your day is ruined. But then you're going to have someone come say, Shaykh, I do it every day, I don't feel nothing. Because you're dead already. You're dead. We should bury you. How are you going to feel if you don't feel? The roadkill on Route 80, when you go on Route 80, you see a roadkill, a dead deer. If you nudge the deer, it doesn't feel because it's dead. How's it going to feel if it's dead? You can smack it all you want. It's not going to feel anything. It's dead. The nerves don't work. That's the problem with the dead heart. You have somebody who says, I don't pray Salah. I don't feel nothing because you lost feeling when you killed your heart. Praying and not feeling guilt is very scary. It's very scary. It's never too late to turn back to Allah always. Yeah? So they immediately believed. And he was fuming mad that they believed. He said, how dare you believe I'm your Lord? They said, you're nothing to us. We believe in Allah. And we'll never ever put you before Allah. So he says, khalas, I'm going to torture you guys and I'm going to show you whose punishment is everlasting. And they said, in response to that, they responded very strongly. And they said, we'll never ever prefer what has come to us from clear proofs, meaning what we saw in this magic show, which was not a magic show, which was a mu'jiza from Allah, over you. Do whatever you want to do. All you have control of is this dunya. Like all you could do is dunya. You can't take care of the hereafter. And then they said, Inna amanna bi rabbina liyaghfira lana khatayana wa ma akrahtana alayhi min as-sihr wallahu khayrun wa abqa. They respond again and they say another thing. The double shot. Now they say, we believed in our Lord. Inna amanna bi rabbina liyaghfira lana khatayana. So Allah, we believed in our Lord so that our Lord can forgive us of our shortcomings and our sins. وَمَا أَكْرَهْتَنَا عَلَيْنَا مِنَ السِّحْرِ. And what you have forced us to do from magic. I was just saying it. They probably felt really guilty for all the magic they were always doing. And he commanded them with magic. And their source of income was magic. And he would give them, raises and incentives to continue their magic. So they said, indeed we have believed in our Lord, so he may forgive our sins. And that magic you have forced us to practice. You, Fir'aun, have forced us to practice. We didn't like doing it. We just did it because you were paying us and we had nothing else to do. Yeah? And Allah is far superior in reward and more lasting in punishment. And they respond to him, smacking him in the face, because he said, you're going to see whose punishment is real strong. They said, Wallahu khayrun wa abqa. Allah is all better. Allah is all better and Allah is truly everlasting. Allah is all better and Allah is truly everlasting. Yani the punishment of Allah is everlasting. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا بِآيَاتِنَا سَوْفَ نُصْلِيهِمْ نَارًا. And then whoever disbelieves, he goes to Jahannam خالدين فيها أبدا. Always خالدين فيها أبدا. خالدين فيها أبدا. Jahannam is forever and everlasting. And Jannah is خالدين فيها أبدا. And paradise and bliss and happiness is forever and ever as well. So Fir'aun has no control of the hereafter. إِنَّهُ مَنْ يَأْتِي رَبَّهُ مُجْرِمًا فَإِنَّ لَهُ جَهَنَّمَ لَا يَمُوتُ فِيهَا وَلَا يَحْيَا. They respond and they continue to say that, indeed, whoever comes to his Lord as a criminal, indeed for him is hell, he will neither die therein nor live. Whoever comes to their Lord as an evildoer, he'll certainly have Jahannam, where he will never live or die. He remains in there forever. لا يموت فيها ولا يحيا. And he has no life either. Meaning you have no point. Jahannam is misery. You're going to never pass away in Jahannam. You'll be there forever. ومن يأتيه مؤمنا قد عمل الصالحات فأولئك لهم الدرجات العلى. And whomsoever comes to Allah with goodness, and whomsoever comes to Allah as a believer with good, قد عمل الصالحات. He was a good believer and he did good deeds. إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات. Allah in the Quran, every time he talks about the believers or the inheritors of Jannah or those people who are going to be gifted Jannah, it's always those who believed and they did good deeds. Those who believed and they did good deeds. Because belief in Allah alone isn't enough to take you into Jannah. So if you believe in God and you say, no, I believe in God, but you do haram all day, and you look at haram all day, and you listen to haram all day, there's something wrong with your belief. It's naqis. It's a bit faulted. Your belief is faulted. You can't just claim to believe and then do wrong and expect to not get punished. So true belief is to also follow up with good deeds, because you put your money where your mouth is. من كان يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر فليكرم جاره فليكرم ضيفه فليقل خيرا أو ليصمت. This hadith comes like a million times. Whomsoever believes in Allah in the last day, let him be good to his neighbor. And then another narration, he who believes in Allah in the last day, because that's belief, that's the first thing, let him be good to his the guest that visits him in the house. Whomsoever believes in Allah in the last day, let him not be bad to his neighbor, let him not treat people badly. Whomsoever believes in Allah in the last day, let him say a good word with his mouth, or let him keep his mouth shut, or let him be quiet. So belief in Allah is, of course, number one, important, but then you follow it up with good actions. Whomsoever comes to Allah with belief in good deeds, for indeed they have a darajat al-ula, the highest stations. Darajat is stations and ula is the highest. Ula is the plural of it's the plural of ali, ula. جنات وعدن تجري من تحتها الأنهار خالدين فيها وذلك جزاء من تزكى. What is the present, or what is the reward of the person who did good? What is the reward of the individual who believed in the good deeds? Is Jannah. And yesterday in the Qiyam al-Layl we were talking about Jannah. We said Jannah has 7 names. Jannah has 7 names. It's Jannat al-Khuld, وجنات عدن وجنات الفردوس and دار السلام, دار المقامة. What else was it? دار القرار, دار المتقين. الحسنى. Those again Jannah, this Jannah that we're speaking about, which is the abode of the righteous. Jannah is for the believer that followed his belief for good deeds. Allah mentions in the Quran a bunch of ayahs talking about different names of Jannah. One of them is Al-Husna. Al-Husna is the most beautified thing, the greatest. لِلَّذِينَ أَحْسَنُوا الْحُسْنَى وَزِيَادَةً. Allah, He says in Surah Younis, for those who did good, لِلَّذِينَ أَحْسَنُوا, for those who did ihsan and lived lives of righteousness, they have something called Husna وَزِيَادَةً. They have Al-Husna, which is Jannah, وَزِيَادَةً, but they get more than Jannah. They have something else as well. What is the ziyada here? Who knows this? Sisters, you know? Huh? What? I didn't hear you. No. What is the ziyada, yeah? Oh, that's a good guess. He said the pleasure of Allah. That was a good guess. That's the greatest gift. Yeah. What? Yes. Seeing Allah. Yes, good job. She got it. لِلَّذِينَ أَحْسَنُوا الْحُسْنَى وَزِيَادَةً. For those who did good and righteous deeds, they get something called Al-Husna, which is Jannah, but they get something else, extra. Husna and some, and then some. And the scholars of tafsir, they all say it's to see Allah. And seeing Allah is the greatest thing. And the believers in Jannah, every Friday, they gather so they could go and they could see Allah. And seeing Allah is the greatest gift. And it's like there's no pain ever. It's the greatest thing ever. And Jannah is the greatest ever. They bring the person who had nothing but difficulty. The person who went through nothing but difficulty in this dunya. Astaghfirullah al-Azim. Sorry. They bring the person who never tasted any good in this world ever. He had a horrible life in dunya. Like for example in Gaza, if you're born in Gaza, you have witnessed, if you're like 18 years old, they did a study, you witnessed like 4 wars. So you were born at the time of a war, and then when you were 6, you had another war, like you witnessed like 4 wars. So your mom passed away in front of you, your dad passed away in front of you, your cousin passed away in front of you, your cousin's wife passed away in front of you, your whole family got killed. You were moving from the north to the south, from the south to the north, from the north to the south, to the west, to the east, to the west, to the east again. It was nothing but difficulty. You went through a 500-day war, and you had nothing to eat for 500 days. You ate rice by itself every day. Sometimes you didn't even have rice to eat. Sometimes you didn't have water to drink. The people of Gaza really are going through a lot. They're really going through a lot. The person that goes to hell on earth, we call it hell on earth, is brought on Yawm al-Qiyamah, فَيُودَعُ فِي الجَّنَّةِ صَبْغَةً. He's placed into Jannah a sabgha. A sabgha means 1 drop. You're placed 1 drop into Jannah, and you're taken out from that drop, and it's asked to that person who tasted all this difficulty in this world, did you ever taste difficulty ever in your life? And he says, La wa Rabbi. He says, no, by God, I never tasted difficulty ever. I don't know what difficulty is. And that's Jannah. That's what you put infinity over any number, it's 0. Jannah is eternal and forever and forever. And dunya is 60 years, if you're lucky. 50 years, 40 years, 70 years. Dunya is a number. It's a number over infinity, it's 0. Then they go and they bring أَنْعَمُ أَهْلَ الْأَرْضِ. They go and they bring the person who never tasted anything but good in his whole life. He'd never tasted nothing but good in his whole life. He ate meat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. He had some type of meat on his plate. People in Egypt eat meat once every 2 years sometimes, depending if they get it on Eid or not. There's poor people all around the world, they don't taste meat. We have meat all the time in America. We don't even think about it. In America, you think about what you're going to eat, not if you're going to eat. You think about what you're going to eat. You have Chinese food, you have Thai food, you have Japanese food, you have Arabic food, you have Syrian food, you have shawarma, you have maqluba, you have mansaf, you have Palestine, you have Jordan, you have Egypt, you have everything in America, everything. Bengali food, Desi food, biryani, everything you want. You just think about what you want to eat and you go and you drive 10 minutes and you go and you go eat what you want to eat, and there's meat or chicken and everything you want. On the flip side, the people that live around the world, there's many poor people, they don't ever have meat, they don't pick what they want to eat, they eat the same thing every single day, they eat whatever is in front of them. So anyway, the person who has nothing but goodness in this dunya, he lived a life of ease, or as we call it, ease. But if you have no Allah, your life is misery. But what they perceive as ease, he has a yacht, he lives in Miami, he has a vacation house in Dubai, he has a Dubai on Epstein's Island, they have houses everywhere, he's happy, he thinks he's happy, he's rich, he has money, he has anything he wants, immediate. He goes and they put him into Jahannam, sabghatan. Muhammad, come here. They take the person who tasted nothing but good in this world, he had an easy life, and they place him into Jahannam, one single sabgha, one single drop, and he says, no, by God, I swear by God, I never tasted any good in my life ever. Jannah is the ultimate goal. And Jannah is Dar al-Qarar, or Dar al-Muqawama, two names. Dar al-Qarar means that thing that's always stable, because Jannah is forever and it's always how it's going to be. Dunya is Dar al-Ghayar. When you call Hayat dunya, Dar al-Ghayar. Dar al-Ghayar is that abode which is always changing, because dunya always changes. You go to high school, and then you graduate high school. Then you go to university, and then you drop out of university because you want to start a business. Then you go back to university after 4 years because your business didn't work out. Then you finish university, and you go to master's, you get married, you have a kid, you get divorced, child support. The dunya is up and down all the time. Or you get married and you're happy, you have 4 kids, but you have another kid is changing, right? Dunya is changing. Your hair goes from black to white, to black again because you use dye, right? Dar al-Ghayar, the dunya is always changing, it's always changing. The hal of dunya is always changing. The hereafter is istiqrar, Dar al-Qarar, Dar al-Muqawama. There in Jannah you'll live forever and it's always going to be stable. Jannah is happiness forever. Jannah, everyone is 33 years old. Everyone is brought to Jannah at 33. Everyone in Jannah has a mansion and a palace. Jannah is all happiness. The temperature is always good. You have anything you want. And the greatest thing you get is the pleasure of God. So Jannah is the ultimate goal. It's ultimate success for the believer. Because Allah talks about success in the Quran all the time. And Allah, He says, فَمَنْ زُحْزِحَ عَنَ النَّارِ وَأُدْخِلِ الْجَنَّةَ فَقَدْ فَازَ. Whomsoever spared himself from the fire and he made it into Jannah, he has indeed succeeded. وَمَا الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا إِلَّا مَتَاعُ الْغُرُورِ. And what is dunya? Except the deception. So ultimate success, we learn from the Quran what it is. But Allah tells us in the Quran that success is obedience to Allah and His Messenger. وَمَن يُطِعِ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ فَقَدْ فَازَ فَوْزًا عَظِيمًا. So how do we bring the two ayahs together when Allah talks about Jannah being success, but obedience to Allah and His Messenger on the other hand being success? And the easy answer is that obedience to Allah and His Messenger, the outcome of that is Jannah. If you're obedient to God and His Messenger, you're Jannah. And God says that success is قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ تَزَكَّى قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا. He who purified his heart and he didn't give in to his desires, he has been successful. Because not giving in, thank you so much. Because not giving in to your desires and abstaining from your desires and not giving in is success, because that means you're making it to Jannah as well. So over here Allah, He's saying all of this after mentioning the magicians and their strong unwavering iman. They say that the hereafter is forever. You only have control of this world. He who goes to Allah mujriman, not kafiran, mujriman. They say mujrim, they say a criminal, because Fir'aun was a criminal. And they were criminals in their magic because they were aiding a criminal. He was a mujrim and they were aiding him on his ijram. They say he goes to Jahannam where he will reside therein forever. And whoever comes as a mu'min and he did good deeds, for indeed he has a darajat al-ula, the highest statuses. And what are the highest statuses? Jannatu Adn, right here. Jannatu Adn. Jannatu Adn is another name of Jannah. It means forever and everlasting. تجري من تحتها الأنهار خالدين فيها وذلك جزاء من تزكى. The person who does good deeds, he goes to Jannah, he gets Jannah, where he will find rivers there flowing beneath his feet, خالدين فيها, where he will live therein forever. وذلك جزاء من تزكى. And that is the jaza, that is the reward, that is the gift. من تزكى, for he who did tazkiyah, for he who abstained from his nafs, from he who disciplined himself, from he who purified his heart. وَلَقَدْ أَوْحَيْنَا إِلَى مُوسَى أَنْ أَسْرِ بِعِبَادِي فَاضْرِبْ لَهُمْ طَرِيقًا فِي الْبَحْرِ يَبَسًا لَا تَخَافُ دَرْكًا وَلَا تَخْشَى. And we're going to stop here, but I'm going to read the translation of it. We're going to stop here. Allah, He says in the very next ayah, shifting the scene, because the scene of the magic show has ended. The scene of the competition has ended. Now the scene shifts. And Allah, He says, وَلَقَدْ أَوْحَيْنَا إِلَى مُوسَى أَنْ أَسْرِ بِعِبَادِي. Now Allah commands Musa, because Musa made his statement to Pharaoh. He made it, it's done. Pharaoh still didn't believe, so Pharaoh is the problem now. Pharaoh still didn't believe, so now Allah has to command Musa with his second command. Because Musa's purpose of prophecy was for two things. The first thing was to call Pharaoh to Allah. His first purpose was to call Pharaoh and the people of Egypt to God. The magicians all became Muslim. And Pharaoh went and he crucified them all and killed them all. They don't care because their iman was unwavering. His second mission that God sent him with, his second mission that Allah sent him with, was to save the people of Israel, Bani Israel, to take them back to their place where they were from, that Allah granted to them because He had bestowed them and favored them upon the land, which is Palestine. They originated from Palestine, as we said. They were the descendants of Yaqub's sons, who went to Egypt because at the time of Yusuf they went to Egypt, they remained in Egypt. And they fell off and they digressed from listening to their scriptures and they started doing haram. And they started to derail. When they began to derail and do haram, Allah sallata Fir'aun alayhim. Allah made Fir'aun be a tyrant and oppress them as a punishment for their going against the command of God. So now the second duty of Musa is to go home and take the children of Israel back. To take the children of Israel back to Palestine. And that's the next famous part of the story, which is his same stick. The same stick that Allah aided Musa with. The same stick that He used that became a serpent, He's going to use it again for something much bigger, which is to save Bani Israel from Fir'aun. So Allah, He says in the next ayah, shifting the scene. And indeed, we surely inspired Musa, أوحينا إلى Musa. We sent him revelation saying, leave with my servants. فَسْرِ بِعِبَادِي. My servants are who? Bani Israel. Or anyone else who joins and believes. Bani Israel and those who believe, right? At night. فَسْرِ بِعِبَادِي فَضْرِبْ لَهُمْ طَرِيقًا فِي الْبَحْرِ يَبَسًا. Take my servants at nighttime and escape Egypt. And escaped Egypt. Leave from at night and strike a dry passage for them across the sea. Have no fear of being overtaken, nor be concerned of drowning. Allah says, go and take my servants to the shore. Don't worry about anything and don't worry about drowning. Don't worry about drowning. We're going to take care of you. And that's the next scene. And the next scene is them running away from Pharaoh, and Pharaoh comes with his entire army, and they chase them up until they get to the shore. And then they reach the shore, and they say, Inna la mudrakun. They say, Inna la mudrakun. They say, oh Musa, that's it, we got gotten. We're going to get caught. قَالَ كَلَّا إِنَّ مَعِيَ رَبِّي سِيَهْدِينَ. And Musa, he responds, his famous response, and this is amazing. He says, nay, or no or not. I'm with my Lord, and He will guide me. Guide me to victory, guide me to a way out. فأوحينا إلى موسى أن أضرب بعصاك البحر فانفلق فكان كل فرق كالطود العظيم. So right after that, Allah sends revelation to Musa على طول, like right away, and He says, oh Musa, take your staff and strike the ocean. Why doesn't Allah just open the ocean? Why does He tell Musa to do it? To teach us, sometimes just do something, like exert 1% effort, like and Allah will do it. فَهُزِّي إِلَيْكِ بِجِذْعِ النَّخْلِ تَسَاقُطْ عَلَيْكِ رُطُبًا جَنِيًّا. Allah, He commends Maryam alayhi salam after she gives birth to baby Jesus, and she's exhausted. She just bore a child, so she has the pain of child labor. She had no anesthesia. She's not in St. Joe's. She has no nurses looking after her. No, really, she's like under a tree, and she's worried. She's also emotionally exhausted because they're all going to call her bad names because she just had a baby without anyone. And Allah commands Maryam, this woman who just gave birth, to shake the palm tree. فَهُزِّي إِلَيْكِ بِجِذْعِ النَّخْلَةِ تُسَاقِطْ عَلَيْكِ رُطْبًا جَنِيًّا. God says, take the palm tree and shake it. Have you ever seen a trunk of a palm tree? You ever seen a trunk of a palm tree? If you bring John Cena, he can't shake it. John Cena won't be able to shake a palm tree. Who's strong now? Who's strong now in today's world? Ronnie Coleman? The palm tree, first of all, it's uncomfortable to touch. It's not like soft. It's like, and it's strong. Palm trees are so strong. And He tells Maryam, shake the palm tree. Like, how? No, but she did it. تُسَاقِطْ عَلَيْكِ رُطُبًا جَنِيًّا. And these dates, rutab, not just dates, because we have two types of dates. We have majul, the dark black ones, the Ramadan ones, and then you have something called rutab. Rutab is the ones that taste like an apple, the ones that are really nice, they're like honey tasting, you know, the Algerian dates, you know, rutab, you know, not the black date, the one that's like, what is it, brown? Brown? Gray, brown? Yeah, right? Golden? Golden. Golden. You're both golden. So no, Rutab is those nice fresh dates, the nice ones that come on the long stick that you pull off. So the point is, of course Allah could open the ocean by himself. Of course Allah can send her down dates on herself. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to teach us that you have to exert effort. You have to exert effort, and then the rest is on Allah, of course. وَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى الْحَيِّ الَّذِي لَا يَمُوتُ, right? And rely upon Allah, like have reliance upon God. Reliance upon God is tawakkul, not tawakkul. Tawakkul is to say, I'm relying upon Allah, and you sit down and you go to sleep and you wake up and you do nothing. You have someone, he sits down at the shisha bar 24/7. Not to put Egyptians on blast, but wallah, I used to go out at 8 a.m. in the morning to go to school, and we used to pass by the cafes that are on the street, and there's a guy sitting down at the shisha bar with his pipe. I go out at 8 a.m., I come back at 3 p.m. for lunch, he's still there. I go back for 5 p.m. for the other class, he's still there. I come back at 9 p.m. for my whole day and I'm exhausted and he's still there. And he goes, I have no money. I have tawakkul on Allah. Brother, you have no sense of tawakkul in your head. Your entire head is wrong. It's all wrong. It's all wrong. What do you mean tawakkul? Tawakkul is you exerting effort and you doing something, then relying upon Allah. You tie the camel and then you have tawakkul. The Prophet said you tie the camel. How are you going to just leave your camel and say I have tawakkul? Your camel's going to run away, you're never going to see it again. What is it? What kind of concept is that? It's tawakkul. So no, the point is to rely upon Allah. Of course, Allah is the one who grants victory and aid and whatever, but you exert effort, do something. You say, brother, I've been relying upon Allah, but I can't do it. No, you have to exert effort, more effort, exert more effort, and it continues to have tawakkul. You say, I can't get a job, I'm having tawakkul. No, brother, work hard. People get jobs every day. What are you talking about? Yeah, so that's the next part of the story, and we'll end with that tomorrow when he goes. Maybe we'll read it from Surah Al-Shu'ara, because this story is here in Taha when he goes with Bani Israel, and when he takes them to the Red Sea, and the Red Sea splits open. It's in Taha, it's in A'raf, and it's in Shu'ara and Qasas. So maybe we'll read it from Shu'ara, because the verbiage and the rhythmic style of Surah Shu'ara is very, 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 very beautiful. And we'll end with that, with him saving Bani Israel from Fir'aun. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless us with understanding and knowledge and wisdom, and to make the Qur'an the spring of our hearts and the light of our comprehension and understanding. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to raise our status with the Qur'an, and to make our greatest friend in this world and the next, the Qur'an. Wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam tasliman kathira.